Everything starts off with good lighting and a good exposure. If you ever wonder why certain clips grade better than other certain clips, then it might be a direct result of poor exposure or just really bad lighting. I can't express this enough of the importance of lighting. If you want to get the most out of your camera, then it'll all boil down to your lighting and your exposure. So in today's video, I want to show you guys my personal color grading process on how I achieve my certain look. And also a few advanced techniques that I use to color grade my footage from time to time. Again, I'm not saying that this is the only way to color grade. This is just my personal method on how I achieve my look, and it seems to work best for me. Now first, before we do begin, I do recommend using a flat picture profile like log, HLG, or Cine. I tend to use log and HLG for most of my shoots. This will give you more control over your clips and in general just give you a better starting point when it comes to color grading. Now with that being said, let's jump into Premiere Pro. Alright, so I've collected a few random clips here that I will be color grading for you guys today, and I do get a lot of questions from you guys on how I achieve my certain look. And yes, I do in fact use my own personal LUTs to grade all of my footage, and I'm excited to announce a new LUT pack that I've been working on for over a month now that's actually going to work for most cameras. This is not just for Sony or HLG or S-Log. These LUTs will work for almost any camera to help you achieve a cinematic look. Using LUTs is a great way to give your clips a great starting point to color grade, and also it saves you a lot of time, especially if you create videos on a daily basis. Alright, starting off with this first clip right here, this is a shot of me and my brother just sitting down and talking, and you might have seen this from a previous video that I've shot, but as you can see right here, is actually properly exposed and it's well lit. I'm using natural lighting from the outdoor, and right off the bat, this is just a great starting point to begin color grading. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll go into my creative right over here and I will import a look. Go into browse, and here I have my new custom LUTs, and I think I'm gonna be using Aqua. So right off the bat, after applying Aqua, as you can see, it seems to be a little too overexposed, but the great thing about these LUTs is that I've basically added all the colors in there. I've adjusted the hues and given the colors, so that only thing that you guys would need to do is to adjust the exposure, your highlights, shadows, or whites. So it makes the entire color grading process very easy and pretty straightforward. There's not too much that you need to fiddle with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into basic corrections right over here, and I'm just gonna drop the highlights, kind of fiddle with it until I am happy with it. Drop the shadows just a bit, and maybe I'll add a little bit of saturation. Really bring out those skin tones. Adjust it a little bit more. So my Aqua LUT really adds a lot of blues to the shadows, hence the word Aqua, while maintaining the skin tones and giving it a orange contrast to it. Sort of an orange and teal version. And this is actually a clip shot on my GH5. So now I'll move on to a clip shot with my Sony a7 III in HLG2. It's a really cool clip right here. I really love the colors that she's wearing and the background. And just like before, I'll go into my creative and I'll import a look. And I think fire will look really good with this one because it really adds to the red inside this clip. Alright, so already there's a pretty big difference, but I think I could actually add a little bit more highlights. Just raise up my highlights just a little bit in the basic corrections right over here. Maybe bump up the shadows just slightly. I'm already liking how the clip looks a lot. I do think it is a little bit too red in the skin tone. So what I'll do is I'll actually go into my hue versus hue, and I'll select the dots right on the red and somewhere around the yellows right here. And this will basically let me alter just the red hue. It's actually very subtle. There's not really too much of a difference, but it's very subtle, and that's exactly kind of the idea when it comes to color grading. You don't want to go too overboard and crazy and drop this all the way down, because it'll start just looking horrible and distorting the colors. But the idea is just to be very subtle with it and give it a small touch. So inside this new LUT pack, I actually have designed new log style LUTs. Anytime you shoot in log, you can actually use these LUTs from this LUT pack. and I'll actually go into creative and go into my look. Since it's a sunset look, I think I'm gonna go for log fire. So off the bat right now, as you can see, log fire really brought out the warmth of this clip, gave it a good contrast, and added a little bit of greenish and bluish tint to the shadows. And right off the bat, I think that just already looks really good, and I don't really think I need to adjust it that much. So for this case, actually, right off the bat, just applying a LUT for this clip, it already looks really good. Notice how fast I am color grading using LUTs and how easy the process is. Really, all the colors and hues I've already added. The only thing that you guys need to really do is adjust your exposure with your highlights, shadows, and whites. All right, so now moving on to the next clip over here, and this is just a clip of me sitting down, and this is shots on my Sony a7 III with HLG2, and I wanted to mimic a YouTube video slash interview slash commercial style shoot, because most likely in the real world you guys will be shooting something like this, whether it be an interview or a commercial. Controlled lighting environment just like this with artificial lights is how your clip would probably end up looking like. So now going to creative and importing a LUT, I think I'm gonna use fire. Since this wasn't shot on log, I'm definitely just gonna be using a regular LUT, so I'm gonna go with fire. Right off the bat, fire really brought out my skin tones and really brought the warmth in it too, as well as adding some greens to the shadows. And maybe there's just a little bit too much saturation, so I'm just go ahead and just drop this down by hair. Very subtle. Now that's already looking really amazing, but I want to show you guys another advanced technique that I do use when I do want to give more focus to my subject. So since I'm sitting down and this is a static shot, I can actually add a mask to this color grade. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my effects and go into Lumetri right over here, import a new one over here. I'm just gonna drag and drop it into my effects. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a custom vignetting. This kind of helps shapes the light and it kind of focuses more on the subject itself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this rectangle right over here, and I'm gonna actually just vignette the corners. So I'm just gonna create this up, and maybe something like this is okay. Make sure to add some feather to this. This will really help sell this effect. And now I'll go into my basic corrections and I can actually drop the exposure. So as you can see right there, I've kind of created almost like a custom vignetting. I'm gonna add a little bit more feather to it to kind of make it blend in more seamlessly. And then now I'm gonna copy and paste the mask one and create another mask. And now I'm gonna add this to the other corner now. Rotate this, turn like this. Maybe I'll bring this back up a little bit, it's a little too much. It's very subtle, but it really helps center in on the subject itself. And this is especially useful if you have way too much light spilling over into the background. This is almost like shaping your lights, but in the editing software. All right, so now moving on to this final night clip over here that I actually shot in Shibuya, Tokyo. And this is already a pretty well exposed clip because of all the bright lights, but just like before, I'm gonna start off with using a LUT. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use the Wave LUT. So already looking really good. The Wave LUT basically adds a lot of blue tints to the shadows and really keeps a good contrast ratio. And I think I can maybe add a little bit more to the highlights. Maybe just bring this up just a tad bit, and the shadows as well. And a little bit of contrast. And I would say that's already looking really amazing, but I want to show you guys this final little extra step to really enhance your nighttime shots. This is a really cool effect that basically adds this glow-like effect to your highlights. So go into your effects panel and type in VR Glow, and just go ahead and drag and drop this onto your effects. Already right off the bat, as you can see, it already added this glow-like effect to your highlights. And this is a really cool effect that's really reminiscent of the Pro Mist filter. So if you guys are familiar with the Pro Mist filter, it basically blooms and softens your highlights. But you can actually do this with this effect right here and kind of replicate it. So I'm gonna go into my effects over here and I'm gonna adjust the parameters, and right here, Luma Threshold is basically how much I wanna cover. So as you can see, if I move it all the way down here, it covers everything, and if I move it back up, it covers nothing. So I kind of just want to find a good balance, maybe something like right here. It's kind of where I like it. It looks good to me. Glow radius is basically the radius of the glow. If you want to drop it down, make it more harsh, or if you want to expand it more, gives it a much more softer, wider radius. I think right there looks pretty good to me. And I'm going to brightness, and I don't want it to be too bright, so I don't want it to be too distracting. I kind of want it to be a very subtle effect to the glow. Maybe around right there looks pretty good. Glow saturation is basically the saturation of the glow, and I actually like to bump this all the way up to 10, really give a lot of color to those highlights, almost reminiscent of like neon sci-fi colors, give that cyberpunk look. So that's looking really good right off the bat right there. Now let me show you guys a really cool way of adding more color into those glow highlights. Now go into your creative right over here, and what you'll do is actually adjust your highlight tint, and this will give you a lot of color in the glow effect. So as you can see, I'm moving it to the yellow and everything's all yellow. Move it to the red, everything's all red. I think I'm gonna move it towards the blue side. I think blue will give it a really good look and to really match with our LUT. Maybe like, say right there, looks pretty good. And I think I can maybe add a little bit more brightness. So there you go. I would say that looks really good to me. The VR glow is personally one of my favorite effects that I love to use, especially in those nighttime cityscapes. And once again, these custom LUTs are designed for any picture profile and almost any cameras. So no matter if you're shooting on Canon, Sony, Fujifilm, or Panasonic, these LUTs will work universally for all the cameras across the board with some slight adjustments. So I wanted to thank all of you guys who consistently support me and use my LUTs and continue to come back and watch my videos. Really, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys really help keep this channel running, so thank you. Anyways guys, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I think I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.